Hey, it's Michelle Bell, Black Status Presenter with Unique, and I want to talk about the trifecta of leadership. How to effectively lead your team and how to get from where you are to the place that you want to be. So I call it the trifecta, but there's actually one additional part that I'll add on to it, but there's three main parts. So when you have a team, and this is specifically for direct sales, but I can also see this applying to, if you're a sales manager or a coach. I feel like this is leadership 101, okay? So trifecta, leading and coaching in a variety of ways to affect the most people that want to work. Okay, so we're going to talk about three different ways to lead. One is a whole group, one is with runners, and one is individually. So those are the three sections of leadership. So the first one as a group. So if you are in direct sales and you're on Facebook, which is pretty much everyone on direct sales is on Facebook now, you probably have a team group. So your effect, the way that you're going to lead in your group, okay, is leadership for the masses, training for the masses. That might be a team challenge. It might be doing a team call. It might be doing training directly on your group and focusing on the basics, how to do A, how to do B, doing that on your group. That's training for the masses. Okay, that's training for everybody. Anybody can get plugged in. Their sponsor has gone MIA on them. They can get plugged into your group. They can go through the files. They can find things. Now, while that is so helpful, that is not the complete part of leadership. So a big trap that leaders get into is their team starts to grow and they feel like they can no longer talk to everybody personally. If you haven't got to that point, you will if you continue growing, and it's a wonderful thing to have a team that is so big that you can no longer message everybody individually. But then what we do is we default to the group. We default to the group and we post to the group and we do motivational quotes to the group and everything is to the group, and we feel like we're doing our job as a leader because we're getting the information out there. But that is only 1/3 of how you need to lead and train your team. So if you are doing a great job in that area, you can check that off your list. If you don't have a group, I highly suggest it. You really need something that everybody can plug into. Team calls. If you're not doing a team call at least once a month, start doing that. Maybe do something every other week or once a week, like whatever's going to work with you, because that is something that you can invite people to participate on, and I'll kind of talk about that in a second. So that's the group part, training to the masses, okay? The second aspect of leadership that I feel like is really important is smaller groups, and this would be like your chats, okay, with your runners. So that means you have to identify who your runners are. So you need to look through your team and who is actually selling, who's not just saying that they want to sell or saying that they want to do great in this business, but who is actually doing it. And this is a skill. This means all leaders don't naturally do this. This is something you can learn how to do. Okay, if you haven't read Big Al's book, How to Grow Network Marketing Leaders, it's a must because it basically outlines how to do this. So you go through your team and you find who is working, maybe they're not direct to you. In fact, you're going to be reaching out to people that aren't direct to you because most likely your leaders are not going to be direct to you all the time. So you're reaching out, you're noticing them, you're messaging them, you're recognizing them, and then you are finding them and putting them together, okay, in a chat, in a challenge, in something where not only are they going to be talking with you, but they're going to be talking with other people that also have similar goals, similar ambitions, and they're going to be working together. I feel like this is really important because the team group, that first aspect, while it can create relationships, to be honest, it doesn't really. Sometimes people feel like a group is so big, they are just a number in there. But in the smaller challenge, they can talk to each other and you encourage them to friend each other, to, reach out to each other, to help each other out. I also love to do Zoom calls with these smaller groups. So this is a call where you're going to be able to see not just your face and you're talking, but you're going to see everyone else's face. Sometimes you can't do that with a team call. If your team call is over, 10 people, that's going to be really hard to do. My team calls are too big for that. My team calls is one person kind of talking to the masses, okay? Answering questions. We see comments, but that's really about it. So having this smaller group where they can interact and talk with each other is huge. That's where friendships are formed. That's where that idea of community, which is so important, is formed. And you can do more specific training. So now you're not just training to the masses, now you're doing something that is specific to this group. And it might be a group of people all going from white to yellow. It might be your yellows going to pinks. It might be your blues trying to get to green. It might be those that want to hit faster. Like, you get to decide how you're going to divide up this group, okay? Even if you have a small team, you should still have like your key 3 or 4 people that you are working with and put them in a group or a chat together. I say a chat. You don't need another group. I say a chat, okay? The last way of training sometimes gets overlooked. And as this is a trifecta, these 3 parts are equally important, okay? So if you miss one part of this, you're going to be missing a huge aspect of your business, and that is the personal coaching. So the group coaching is training to the masses, just a fail-safe, okay? In case somebody's sponsor checks out on them, in case they don't know where to go to, at least they're getting some kind of training, right? They have links to the website, calls, or something, right? The smaller group is for runners, people that aren't just hobbyists, people that want to get to the next level because they need support. They need to hear and see that they have support. Then the last group is personal coaching. This is where you're going to develop a strong relationship with your runners. This is so important. I suggest doing phone calls because I feel like that is where the biggest relationship builder can come from, or personally meeting. I feel like messaging people is helpful as well, but I still think that, doing a call at least once a month, maybe once a week, depending on how quickly they want to grow or how much support that they need, it's going to be huge for your business. It's going to be really, really important. This is where you're going to do goal setting. Okay. Now, sometimes on your team group, you'll say, okay, post your goals here, but that gets people kind of thinking, but there's no accountability there. When you're on the phone with somebody individually and you're saying, okay, let's talk about your goals for the month. Let's talk about what your reward is going to be. And you're asking specific questions. You're getting down to that like soul searching part of their business, reminding them of why they were in this business to begin with. And you're really getting to know them. So when you're doing this call with them, you should have a notebook and you should be writing down notes as you're talking with them. Okay. Things to follow up with, how often to contact them this month, what do they need, what kind of support do they need from you. That is the individual support. And I will tell you, if your runners on your team are not getting some kind of individual support somewhere, and maybe they're okay with messages, like, again, you're going to change this to them. If they don't want to do phone calls, then do messages. But if they aren't hearing from you, and they are not feeling that support, they're going to start getting disconnected. And that's where we see our teams, even people that have promoted rather quickly to pink and blue, and maybe even to green and orange and purple, their teams start to disintegrate and things start to fall apart because they're not hearing from their upline or their sponsor. Now, yes, your upline, your sponsor is not the make it or break it for your success. So if you aren't hearing from your sponsor, I don't want to hear, oh yeah, well that's why I'm not successful because she didn't do this with me. What I'm telling you is you can be a better leader than your sponsor is or was by incorporating this into your business, and you can have better and quicker success than he or she did by doing these things. Now, is it make or break? No. Like, you will have people that just run with the business and you could never talk with them. And they're totally good. You have people that hit the top of the company and their sponsor quit the next week. So it's not make or break. Let's just put that there. If somebody wants to be successful, they are going to be successful whether you talk to them or not. But you can have so much more influence when you communicate effectively with your team and you're encouraging and you are motivating and you are helping them at those 3 different levels. So as a group, as a community, smaller community, okay, so you can develop friendships and relationships, and then as a coach, as a personal coach, to help them really lay out their goals. What's their personal motivation? How are they going to achieve that this month and this week? And having someone to hold them accountable. Honestly, everybody likes being held accountable. As far as I have noticed, most people like to be held accountable. If you ask your team, would you like me to hold you accountable? The majority that are working, not hobbyists, the majority that are working are going to say yes. They do want to be held accountable. They do want someone to push them. We need that in our lives. Most people, again, not everybody. Some people are just going to do it, and bless them and bless you that you were able to find somebody that's just going to run with it. But the majority of people want more than just that. They want some kind of interaction, because relationships are the huge part of this business, and they keep people going, especially if the money is not coming fast enough for what they think they should be getting. The relationships will stay. The relationships will keep them going until the money matches up to what they need. So, trifecta. I want you to examine your leadership style. I, for a while, was just focusing on my group. I was like, I'm posting on my group. I'm doing my job. I'm doing awesome. And I realized I was missing the other 2 aspects of the business. And when I started incorporating those and working under leaders, okay, and finding a leader with a leader, reaching out to them, developing personal relationships. Am I perfect at it? No, definitely not. I can use my time more wisely to reach out to more people. The last thing I want to just caution you, though, is you can't, as your team starts to grow, you can't and you don't want to work with everybody. Even if you have a small team, let's say you have 10 people on your team. I don't want you working with all 10 people. I don't want you doing individual calls with all 10 people unless they're all like runners and workers. And then yes, go for it. But most likely you're going to have 3 or 4 that are runners. So you post in your group, you post in your chat for all 10 of them. You check in once a month with all 10, but then you call and you work weekly with the 3. And those 3 get to know each other really well, and you guys form a solid rock on your team. And those 3 leaders with that personal, help and motivation, everything, are going to grow and thrive. And let's say some of them don't thrive. You give yourself permission to find someone new to work with. Okay? You don't work with people that deserve your time. You don't work with people that need your time. You work with people that deserve your time. So that means that they are doing their half of the bargain, their end, to deserve spending that time with you and that help. So I hope this has been helpful. If you are at green status and you're wondering how to get to orange status, okay? If you're at orange status, you're wondering how to get to purple, and wondering why you're stuck at purple and how to get to black, I really encourage you to look at those 3 aspects of your leadership. And then here was the 4th thing I wanted to add. This is not the trifecta. This is something additional. You need to keep working on your own personal business. The number 1 mistake I see with people that get stuck at a rank is they stop selling and they stop sponsoring. They stop doing the things that got them to that rank. You have to keep doing sponsoring, selling every single month, in and out. You should be one of the top on your team. Yes, balance it with your leadership, things that you have going on, but you have to keep bringing in new people to replace people that leave. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any other questions about leadership or how to motivate your team or how to grow a team, feel free to reach out to me, and have a wonderful day. Thanks.